Well, this happened. As a Slaanesh enjoyer, guys, I felt compelled to weigh in on this Emperor's Children preview. I think, as a disclaimer, a lot of what's here is good. It's looking good. I think it's quite exciting for Emperor's Children fans. You know, if you love them long time, I think you'll feel the positive vibes, right? I will always feel an inkling of despair for the loss of standard Chaos Space Marine range access, as I don't think GW handles this particular type of transition well. But I quite like what's here. I do have some suggestions for improvements, but they're minor overall. And I figured we'd go through the order of this article in a sort of reverse order, because GW lays them out in order of de-escalating intensity, and I think it's better to build up to cooler stuff. Just my opinion. So we start here with what appears to be a new type of standardized Marine unit, right? It says here in the flavor text, even the most common Space Marines among Fulgrim's Legion are masters of their own brand of warfare. These are called Infractors, not to be confused with all the Primaris naming conventions. God, I kind of hate... this is the one part I don't like about this particular kit. They're called Infractors. Look, for clarity, it could be some old lore stuff. It very well could be, but it sounds way too on the nose with... way too new 40k for my liking. Anyways, as far as these guys go... they look great, and I think it makes good sense to have a standardized, less special, more battle line, tactically flexible type of Astartes available for the Emperor's Children. When it comes to their particular aesthetic here, I really like how GW has characterized the Emperor's Children's look. You have the kind of helmets that you would expected for the range, but I think the overexposed undersuit is a great aesthetic choice for the Emperor's Children. Really kind of gives more of that Hellraiser vibe, and a little bit more like their, these guys like to show their bodies a little bit, which I think is on point for Emperor's Children. This appears to be a melee Chaos Space Marine squad, effectively. So if you play Chaos Space Marines, why not use these as a base for a melee Chaos Space Marine squad with your Mark of Slaanesh? Totally reasonable, I'd say. Like, you got these beaky helmets, and like a modified version there. And look, just enough regality. It's also nice how dialed back the trim is, at least on the rank and file men. The Infractors also build a ranged variant with bolt guns, and you got a whip for Slaanesh purposes, and a plasma gun as a special weapon choice. So you have essentially a unique branded Chaos Space Marine squad here for the Emperor's Children. I think it makes a good choice. Just having if we're honest, Noise Marines, while classic and cool, are very specialized. So I think it makes good sense to have a more tempered, a more flexible rank and file battle line choice. I guess when it comes to color palette, I figured they'd go with the black and pink route with randomized between those two colors on different parts. Well, not totally random. There's a rhyme and a reason, but it's not standardized, I'd say. I much prefer this beloved look here. This is chef's kiss. This is how I would have preferred them to look, honestly. But look, you can still get them and paint them this way, and it'll probably look better, in my opinion. Just my 2 cents there. Circling back to the preview, we have... Next are these Palatine Blades, now called Flawless Blades. A dark mirror to the elite Palatine Blades of the Great Crusade. Yes! Look, thinking back to an Emperor's Children thematic list build, I'm sure I suggested for... Take your chosen and use them as Palatine Blades at some point, but Now you have them. Now you have these flawless blades. Look, the only improvement I would make here. I love the Slaanesh swords. I like the exposed midriff. I like the hoofed feet, the hoofed demonic sort of feet they got going on. The only improvement I would make is, and I've said it before, and longtime fans of the channel will recall, Codpieces. Emperor's Children Palatine blades should have big, stinking codpieces. 10 out of 10, it would have improved the design. That's a fact. That's a fact. Anything else to share about these guys? You got these elongated heads, which I think works pretty well, sort of taking on more of a Slaanesh head crest on a few of them. Maybe not on this guy. He's got some sort of integrated Vox grill, which is also a cool look. Then we have the classic Noise Marines, which are looking kind of how you'd expect them to look. I mean, they look good. It's you know, they got their cool dials and accessories. The Sonic Blasters look way better than they ever looked. But what else is there to say? What else is there to say? They look as you'd expect them to. Blastmasters look good. Let's look through this. Did the other Tormentors have white weapon casings? It's an interesting design choice, right? I wouldn't have expected it necessarily. No, their bolt guns are black, so for whatever reason, GW's painting Noise Marines, Blastmasters with white weapon casings. And I think it looks good on a dark armor scheme. I do think it would look better on a darker armor scheme. Look, it's the Iron Hands weapon casing aesthetic, right? So it's going to look better on darker armor schemes. But that's just minor nitpicking. I think these look quite satisfactory. I wonder, are these, it's a little tricky to say, are these on 40mm bases? They look rather wide, which if so, makes them, so it's an analog, it kind of moves them out of the veteran rank and file type to more of a Havoc, heavy weapon squad, heavy intercessor type. As it relates to battlefield role, I don't like that one of these is not the same. If these are 40s, yeah, they look quite. It's looking. I don't know if it's a trick of the eye or maybe the perspective they used, but I don't like that Noise Marines are now the only classic cult marine not to be on 32mm. I think that's not ideal. One of these does not belong. Feels weird. It's the choice. Scrolling up, we have our first Emperor's Children support character, the Organ Man. No, it's called Lord Cacophonist. I'm sure he'll buff Noise Marines in some capacity with the ability to lead them. And I think, you know, if you held on to that old classic Noise Marine shredding on his guitar, that's not a bad proxy for a Lord Cacophonist, honestly, right? I think that guy might have came on a 32mm, and characters are typically on 40s, but if you held on to it, it could be cool. Could be cool. Kind of wish I had a picture of that guy on the ready. Maybe I'll do it in editing. I have the technology after all. After that, we have our Chaos Lord for the Emperor's Children, the Lord Exultant. Yeah, it looks like a Chaos Lord to me. It has the hallmarks I'd expect for Slaanesh. You got a skin legging, exposed undersuit, which I like. Yeah, I mean, it looks great. Got a cool Slaanesh icon on his back. Has a pole arm and a power claw, maybe. Power fist, power claw, power hand at least. Oh, you can have a whip option for him. Oh, that's a great looking head, but it's gross. Okay, so look, you got some build options on here. So it's not a mono pose, easy to build. So that's a plus. That's a plus. Can we go any further? No, that's it. I like his robe. Feels just regal and awkward enough for Emperor's Children. And then we have Lucius. Lucius. Now, I'm quite a fan of the idea of Lucius, and I like most of what's here. I like the weapons. I like the sculpt quality. I like the silhouette. I think he's got a very unique silhouette. Quite strong. Quite strong. You can instantly tell what he's supposed to be. It's a marker of a good design. You got a little bit of Iron Hands flex on the base there. Look at that. I think it's neat. However, the one thing I don't like is his face. He looks very... And this is purely my bias or sensibilities. It's purely an aesthetic nitpick or personal bias, but man, he looks like he's got no teeth, like Mr. Gummy over here. He can only have applesauce. Like, this is not quite what I like. So look, there's an artwork, okay, a particular artwork of Lucius which I adore. This one, yes, from a Black Library novel. I love the energy of this. This is, well, let's be honest. It's Venom. It's Venom from Spider-Man. He's got the tongue, he's got the teeth, he's got the hulking physique. He looks dope. He looks so cool. What a menace. What a menace this beast would be on the battlefield, right? What fear he would evoke. He would instill upon any individual the fear of, ancient Terran predators. But instead we got Mr. Gummy over here, which I'm not overly pleased by. I wonder if you could just green stuff in some fangs and then the head would look infinitely better. Hopefully you can head swap them, maybe? That the tongue here doesn't make it too difficult the way it's integrated like this. I would certainly, if I was going to do Emperor's Children, I would certainly look to head swap. Give him a much more fierce, fear-evoking headpiece. I think that would be much preferred in my opinion. And what do we have up here? Fulgrim. Fulgrim and the book, The Perfect Son. Look, GW does a really good job of making these books look like they're very important and worthwhile. It'll remain to be seen. The pedigree for these Primarch one-off novels is disappointing, I think, to say. That's fair. I think that's a very agreeable statement. Yeah, Fulgrim looks... he's here, he's looking good. Oh, nice army shot. Maybe I should have opened with this. Oh, well, oh, well. What else do we have here? We have the army box at the very bottom, right? Yep. So, as you do, you have an army box where you can get the codex first. You got your FOMO box. You got your FOMO box that'll be a hot commodity that we all love, that we all know and love. These FOMO army boxes. Okay, what can I say that's good? I think already this range, I like this range more than World Eaters already. I think it's better. I think it's far better to have 2 infantry units, even though they're from the same kit, right? 2 standardized battle line units, and then you have your Noise Marines as well, and then you have a Chaos Lord in there. Plus you have your Palatine Blades in one elite choice. So I think already there's a lot to like here. I wonder if we'll see a Sonic Dreadnought. I think that'd be very cool. Fingers crossed for that, and that's not held for a Phase 2 like the World Eaters. But in any case, it's interesting. I had a recent discussion with Maka from the Outer Circle, which I'll post to the channel relatively soon, hopefully after this, hopefully on the same day. We'll see. But the topic of that largely is about, we have a discussion on army size and the implications. And I think there is a pretty good silver lining after that discussion. I think there's a good silver lining around having a smaller army with less units. Any of your standard codex are, which looks good. Of course, Noise Marine on cover. Look, you got some... That's not a demonette, so there looks to be some cult troop coming in here. Some hedonite cult troop, probably. Like cultist unit, I mean. Yeah, these are definitely 40s. Look at that. Look at that. Can we enhance? Can we enhance? Foudies. Look at those foudies. I don't love that. They look good. These hulking brutes, but I just don't love what it does beside their Cult Legion contemporaries. What else? What should we close with? Right, so we have this Death Guard miniature on this other article. I think look, I think it's a nice looking model, honestly. I think this would be a joy to paint, really. Minimal trim. They've really dialed back the amount of gross random shit on the Death Guard aesthetic. And, yeah, he's got a cool bag. He's a bag man. And he's got a cool sword on his back. Wicked. This is cool. Well, I'll try to temper my expectations. Salamander's artwork on the horizon. Very interesting. We'll probably wrap it up there. So this was a quick... I say it was quick, but time sort of flew by. Oh, right. Be sure to let me know what you guys thought of this Emperor's Children preview. So maybe it's not so quick. Maybe it's just a standard length video. But it's an informal one, and so if you stuck around, I appreciate it. As always, a special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous, much beloved patrons and channel members. Patrons and channel members get early access to typical channel videos. Just a little something for helping to keep the dream alive. And with that, we'll wrap it up.